And I want to welcome you to the show. I'm a person who loves berries, and when I go down that grocery store aisle and I'm looking at all those lovely strawberries and raspberries and blueberries and blackberries, I just want to plant a whole garden full of them. But you have more than a garden full of them. You have 25 acres filled with, berries and fruits. But it's even more than just a farm. You also involve the community. So I want to ask, this wonderful story you have, how do you start telling it, and how and where did you begin with your farm to be able to get to where you are today?
I grew up in the Finger Lakes of upstate New York, and my favorite summer pastime was picking black raspberries. But let's fast forward a little bit after working for Cornell and University of Maryland and having a chance to establish a berry farm in the Northern Neck and seeing what a great opportunity it was for my husband and I then in our 20s. By the time I was in my 40s, I wanted to do something so that other youth in the area could have hands-on experience. And thankfully, being involved in a lot of our national growers associations, I had heard about the community supported agriculture CSA model. And I thought, what if I put together a berry fruit CSA? And so that was how I started bringing the community involved with Agriberry in 2008.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I dabbled in raspberries for a few years and I made a very poor choice. I did not do my homework and I purchased it because it was an everbearing plant, but it just ran and took over my garden. It made mint seem shy. How did you make your plant choices? Because I'm looking behind you at these beautiful rows and I'm going, that's not what my raspberry patch looked like. What resources did you use to guide you in your choices?
Yeah. Well, thank you for humbly sharing that story. It's not at all uncommon whatsoever, and especially with raspberries because they do propagate from suckers, and you'll blink and turn your back to them, and before you know it, you do have that bramble patch for sure. But as you can see from the plastic on the rows laid down, we create a raised bed and we run an irrigation line in it as well. So it's very important to have this barrier. And by having the trickle irrigation and allowing us also to fertilize specific to raspberries, they get off to a very good start, as you can see.
How much water does it take to grow berries on a large scale versus how can we scale it down to a homeowner scale?
This year we haven't had to worry about the irrigation near as much, have we? It has been a very wet spring here in Hanover County. But in general, the important thing is to have an irrigation plan. And whether you are large with 25 acres like Agriberry, where we do have a deep well and we do have zones and we do run it by computer so that the zones alternate over 24 hours, right now, in 2020, you can go to those box stores and there are amazing opportunities for setting up an irrigation system at your home with a timer system, and I highly recommend it. This is the 1st of July almost,
Yes.
and you have 6 months to get your irrigation plan in advance, all set and ready. People are chomping at the bit to be planting now, but you don't want to be planting your berry garden. You want to be taking care of that location, you want to plan your mulch, and you want to plan your irrigation system, and you want to plan some type of a containment system, and maybe even bird protection.
Share with me how you get these berries picked, because I look at that fruit and it's so tender and that time frame to pick fruit is so narrow and they don't continue to ripen once they're off the vine. So how do you manage that challenge every season?
Yeah, every berry is picked one berry at a time and always by hand. But Pearson, who is our field supervisor and has his degree in education, has an outstanding program with young workers so that he's able to explain the delicacies of picking and the thoroughness that is needed to pick up every single vine to look under, because if we don't pick every single berry, then what's left there is inoculum for more mold and spores. So thorough picking is very important, and they learn to pick to a quota. And these are 14 to 22-year-olds, and it's a great experience. And our community that purchases berries from Agriberry know that you're making a difference in a young person's first job.
Oh, what a great story. I know at Maymont I have many volunteers and many interns particularly the interns that I've worked with over the years, and it's so rewarding. And I think with so many people, at home, they're learning that the gardening is a wonderful way to be able to express yourselves and to be able to grow produce and to have fun with it and try things like berries. So tell me about the CSA part of the program, though, Anne.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for asking about our Community Supported Agriculture CSA program, which still doesn't tell you very much. So we are converting to calling it our Farm Share program. So with our Farm Share program, our community in the wintertime invests in an Agriberry share, which is 4 units of fruit. So they will pay us in the wintertime, which helps us tremendously with cash flow, because on a farm like ours with raspberries, blackberries, and tree fruits, these perennial crops need pruning every winter time. And we have to be able to line up all the materials, the fertilizer, and the packaging. So the wintertime support from our members is huge. And in turn, when the first berries start to ripen, we start 20 weeks of bringing each of our members a share of the harvest that week.
Well, tell me, I know also growing produce is very tricky. And, how do you manage your insects and disease program so that everything is just absolutely perfect for those CSA members to enjoy and later on down the road?
Yeah, that is a very good question, especially with the weather we've had in the last couple weeks with heavy moisture and things like that. And the kids do, I want to say that all of our pickers always pick that perfect berry. Of course, at Agriberry we use integrated pest management, IPM, and many folks have heard of that, but not everybody has heard of the 3 principles: minimizing, monitoring, and managing. And think about that monitor part. Walk out in your garden with your morning cup of coffee or tea and do your own monitoring. But yes, the 3 M's, to minimize, monitor, and then manage, are very important at all levels of gardening.
Yes, we use it at Maymont, and it works out very well. It's a wonderful strategy. And if more people followed it, we would actually have less pesticides used in our communities. And tell me where Agriberry Farm is going to go in the future. What do you think? I mean, these beautiful fields, beautiful berries, lovely fruits, but where do you see it 5 years from now?
So I know I would have had a very different answer 4 months ago. And I would really like to express that this spring, and being a farmer, being an essential service, and taking this very seriously, the whole safety aspect. Safety's always been important at Agriberry, but even more so now with COVID. And the future, because we have seen such an uprising in community connection, wanting to connect directly to the farm, the farmers, their berries, their choices, that and we also responded with an online store, and so we're seeing more options for direct marketing and possibly utilizing our site here in Hanover in a different way. But I certainly see our CSA program continuing. I certainly see our on-site market connection, and it's been successful, and we really love it, and it's great training and opportunity for the kids. So I see that part continuing, but I can see some other things in the future.
Oh, that sounds exciting, and I can't wait to see it come to fruition. No pun intended. But Anne, thank you so much for sharing with us, sharing your story, sharing your passion, and also sharing the goals that you have and helping, the next generation learn more about our industry and to be able to perpetuate it on into the future.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Peggy. And we absolutely love our community, and we love our berries. And I really wanted to convey to you the 3 pillars of Agriberry that I have been evolving, I would say, in this last year. And that first pillar is the importance, the wellness factor that berries and fruits give each of us individually and our families. The second one is berry nostalgia. Berry nostalgia is a very important pillar with Agriberry, trying to create that heritage experience for multi-generations of families. And then our third pillar is a more berry-infused lifestyle. Berries can be enjoyed in a savory way, they can be enjoyed in a sweet way, they can be enjoyed in your beer or your wine or your mead, and berries can be enjoyed in a jam. So the classic in all regards. So just enjoying a more berry-infused
Hmm.
lifestyle is something we hope that people that encounter Agriberry will continue with.
I like your three pillars, and I think we could all follow them very easily and be rewarded by our actions. So thank you.